hot outside, but our housing market is starting to cool down. I'm Taz Weatherly, and here's your July housing market update. July has told me personally enough as a professional that, hey, things are shifting, and it's my obligation to tell you guys what's happening. And I'm gonna break it down into 3 different categories. We're gonna talk about sellers, buyers, and relocation. So let's first off talk about sellers. This is not the time to be panicking and thinking that this is the crash of 2008. Of course, when you hear that the housing market is cooling off, you go, what's that? Well, I'm here to tell you that there has always been a limit to how much we would appreciate. This is nothing new. It was just that we never knew where the ceiling was, and it appears that due to COVID-19 and the pandemic of 2020, we've hit the max here in 2021. A number of other factors have contributed to why home prices are cooling off, sellers. One of them being buyer's fatigue. Buyers are freaking tired. Last open house I did, I actually met someone that had been looking for an entire year on their home. I was like, wow, you're still out here looking? They didn't end up writing an offer on my listing, but that just means that they're looking for a year and a half now. Like, that's a very long time. You also have other factors such as more inventory coming to market. So back in February 2021, the data shows that that was arguably the height of the housing market. The reason why is because seasonality also matters when buying a home. Historically in the winter, there are less buyers as well as less inventory on the market. So coming through the pandemic year of 2020 into 2021, we had historically low inventory due to seasonality, but also just the frenzy of 2020, as well as appreciating home prices year after year. So very simply put, when supply goes down and demand is high, values go up. So that is what we had seen in February. And since then, more homes have gone on the market, therefore more buyer choice, therefore values go down. Buyers. If you're looking to buy in this market, now is a better time than later. And I know that, actually I just had a friend tell me like, oh, realtors always say now's the best time to buy and sell. May not necessarily be true. I think it always depends on what the buyer situation is. However, right now we're in this unique spot to where, without getting political, even though our politics does have a trickle-down effect, especially in this housing market, there's a lot of shifts that are happening within our current administration. From the real estate industry, what we're seeing is programs that weren't offered before, such as first-time home buyer credits, as well as renovation loans coming back up. We've also seen forbearance restructuring loans. Like, it's not a thing that normally happens. So there's a lot of weird things that are happening in the housing market. And for buyers that are like, oh, I'm just gonna wait, that's fine. Wait all you want. It's your life and it's your decision. However, just because you wait doesn't mean that this market is going to stay constant. The real estate market is always fluctuating, and it's especially going to fluctuate more because our current administration is making changes to our housing market. Not necessarily in how prices are or supply, but the more government that actually comes into the market, the more regulation and change you can expect. And since our new administration has gone into office, there have been a lot of changes within the real estate market. Most notably, that the DOJ was attempting to do a lawsuit against NAR. So this is like drama central for everyone not in real estate, and here's the best way to put it. So the NAR, which stands for the National Association of Realtors, is essentially like the governing body of the real estate industry. And when I say governing body, the real estate industry is still a free market, but for the most part, there still needs to be oversight, and that's the National Association of Realtors. And with that, the DOJ actually was attempting to sue NAR for antitrust laws. So according to the DOJ, they felt that the laws of the real estate industry didn't create enough competition. So what NAR actually does is try to settle with the DOJ outside of court. So they said, all right, DOJ, what kind of things do you want from us to do? So the DOJ lists them all out. And NAR actually puts them into effect. Now the problem with this is right before they can do a final sign off of hey, DOJ, are we good? And DOJ would have been like, hey, yeah, we're good. The DOJ pulls out. They basically make the NAR create all of these new rules and regulations. They put them in place. They're trying to come up with a solution. And then at the very last minute, the DOJ pulls out and says, oh, nope, you know what? We have other things that we need to reevaluate. And so going back to all of this, if you're trying to wait as a buyer, by all means, you do you. But there is a point to be said that not everything is constant. So the market that we're in now may not be the same market in 2022. And it will not be. Because what we have seen up to this point is appreciation, appreciation, appreciation year after year after year. And now what we're seeing this July is actually home values decreasing. It doesn't mean that our market is tanking, but what it does mean is that, hey, the factors that have always been in play are starting to change. Therefore, we're also seeing a market shift. So for those that are relocating out of state, the number one concern I get from out of state buyers is that the affordability of Idaho is no longer there. So in terms of affordable housing in Idaho, when your average price point goes from $300 to over $440 in less than a year, then clearly something's going on. That just tells me that more people want housing than we have supply. This frustrates a lot of people trying to move into Idaho because they're like, hey, I can afford the same price in California for this home. And I'm like, yes, you really can. But when we look at the scope of affordability, it's not just the housing market. There's a number of other factors that actually contribute to affordability, as in cost of living, cost of expenses, cost of utilities, cost of gas. There's other factors that are involved in the entire scope of affordability. Idaho does still offer this, but full cautionary tale, still be ready to compete for housing in the Idaho market. Now, if this is something that, you're not looking to do right now, no problem. The rental market is still strong. I think we're at a 2% vacancy rate, the last article that I read. Be open to expanding your search areas, especially if it's a rental. A lot of times I have clients that move here that are like, hey, I don't know where to live. I always make recommendations. And then a year later after they've lived here, they're like, okay, Taz, yeah, we're ready to buy now. And now we want to buy across the county. And it's like, okay, I didn't know that. Okay, I'm just gonna do it. So those are the 3 topics for buyers, sellers, relocations of how this market affects them. Isn't she a hoot? Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining me in this July housing market update. My name's Taz, and I'm here to help you buy or sell your next home.